We are back now at the Bloomberg Global Business Forum, and we welcome the president of Georgia, Salome Zurabishvili. She is the first female president of Georgia, having served as its foreign minister after a distinguished career in the French diplomatic corps. So welcome, Madam President. Good to have you here.
Thank you. Georgia the country.
Georgia the country. Yes, no. Georgia the state doesn't have a president, I don't think. But let's talk about why we're all gathered here, and it's climate change. How does climate change affect Georgia?
Well, climate change affects Georgia as it affects the whole world. We are a small country. We are a country that is located close to the Caucasus Mountains, very beautiful range of very high mountains. And it's affecting already. We see the snow and ice melting on those extraordinary mountains. We see the floods of the rivers. We have 27,000 rivers on a very small compared to big countries like yours, small territory. So we see the effect. But at the same time, we are one country of extreme biodiversity on a very small, again, territory. We have all the climates. We have an incredible amount of endemic, rare wine, for instance. We have 525 endemic old cepages of wine. Same with corn, with wheat. So it's an incredible, and fauna and flora is very diversified. So we are both affected, and we have to take care of that because somehow we are a small reservoir of what exists in different forms in different countries, located in one and same little place. So we are very conscious of what that represents. Georgians are very attached to their nature, and so we are following the climate reductions of emissions. We start from low, so we are not a very industrial country. We are more agricultural, but there is that concern that is very present.
Tell us about the Georgian economy. What drives the Georgian economy? To what extent is it dependent upon climate?
It is. Everything today is dependent on climate. As I said, we are essentially an agricultural country, with wine being the leading segment of this agriculture.
It's the original source of wine, isn't it?
It is.
Georgia. Wine came from Georgia.
8,000 years ago. So, and we have continued. What is very interesting is that it has never stopped. So it's a continuous history of winemaking, which is linked to everything, to religion, to our traditions. So wine is everywhere. But tourism is also a very important segment, and it's growing. We are attracting more and more tourists, and there too we need to preserve the nature that we have, because that's our gold in a way. We also have mines, but the most important is to preserve these extreme riches that we have in nature.
Tell us about your relationship with the EU, particularly, because there is a move to further integrate with the EU. How is that coming? There's been some disruptions, even some demonstrations back in June. Is that getting in the way of that integration?
Not really. The demonstrations, just to quickly go over that, were twofold. There was one big demonstration that was a very natural, spontaneous reaction to the frustration that the Georgian people have after 11 years that we have occupied territories that we have not access to.
South Ossetia and Abkhazia.
And Abkhazia, you know that well. And that is very clear, and I'm here to plead for looking for solutions, because it cannot continue like that. But then it moved into political, trying to enter the parliament and things that happen in democracies all over the place. So we are moving towards Europe on a very continuous path, despite the occupied territories, despite the war we had in 2008. We have, from one to the other, gone from neighbor to associate member. We have visa liberalization. We have free trade agreement. So all of that has been a continuous move towards the European Union. So today we have, I'm not going to tell you what we have. I'm sure you're looking at the UK to see what happens. So we know we are also realist. We are a small country, so we have to be realist. We know that the political decision about our membership will not be taken tomorrow morning. But what we need absolutely, and that's my second message here in the UN, we need movement. We need to see that we continue to get closer and closer, and that one day somebody will discover that in fact we are Europeans and we are already in Europe. Because Georgians are very convinced inside them that they are completely Europeans because of wine, because of the fact that they are Christians, one of the oldest Christian state in the world. The state was converted in the 4th century, so that's and that founds Georgia, and that's why sometimes we say we are more Europeans or Europeans before the Europeans, and we're going to continue that move.
It's a fascinating country, a pivotal country, really, in many respects.
I'm expecting you. We want to see you more,
By the way,
to see more documents about Georgia. That's the real support we can get.
It is a beautiful country by all accounts. Everything I've ever heard, but Georgia is a truly beautiful country, and it has great wine, as we said.
So take it as an invitation by the president.
And I will accept it on behalf of my wife. We'll both come. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
That is Salome Zorovichvili. She is president of Georgia. Great to have you with us, Madam President.